Back to another live feed. I'm trying to make sure the channel. Let's get into it. 1966 Major League Baseball season. Wish you were here, Mr. Witt. Mr. DeWitt was Bill DeWitt, who was the owner of the Cincinnati Reds at the time. He decided to trade his star player at the time, Frank Robinson, to the Baltimore Orioles 3 months later. Excuse me, 3 months older, because he said he was an old 30. Obviously, he would live to regret that. No, DeWitt had no problem with Robinson's previous 10 years as a member of the Reds. He had won a Rookie of the Year award, a Most Valuable Player award, a Gold Glove, National League All-Star team. He was on that for 10 times, about 10 times, and they traded and had the Reds. They steady starting pitcher Mitt Pappas, a closer with fading talent Jack Balscombe, and a backup outfielder Dick Simpson. Now, DeWitt ignored Robson's positives and accentuated the negatives, implying that Robinson was a surly, prematurely aging, physically endangered superstar who spent too much time shining his shoes in the clubhouse. It was not a racist insult. Robinson made it a custom to diligently polish his shoes. DeWitt was slightly in the press that he made the right move and crossed his fingers that Robinson would prove him correct for the Orioles. But as the 1966 season progressed, it became bluntly evident that Robinson wasn't going to cooperate with the DeWitt's forecast. Frank Robinson's team installed and conquered the American League lock, stock, and barrel. And only someone kneeling before him could have bettered him to accomplish what he would do in 1966. That's when the hitters triple crown, the American League MVP, the American League pennant, and the World Series. Gradually making everyone forget who they were before 1954. Hopefully, the St. Louis Browns and Baltimore Orioles blossomed to the 1960s as a team strong on youthful pitching and solid defense. Well, outside of Jim Gentile's flash in the pan performance of 1961, the Orioles lacked an enormous power hitting threat to raise them to an elitist level. Thanks for hitting the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Not Boog Powell, who showed moments of superstar over his first few years, mostly settled in as an inconsistent yet popular home run artist. Not Brooks Robinson, clearly a defensive icon at third base, when qualified to solely carry the team on his back offensively. For 2 years, the Orioles had showed signs of a team desperately trying to burst into greatness. Under manager Hank Bauer, who knew something about winning after spending his playing time with the New York Yankees in the 1950s, the Orioles finished third in 1964, 1965, and 1997 and 94 wins respectively. But the missing piece to their puzzle was going to have to consist of more than fast-track growth for the youthful, talented starting rotation to trade for Frank Robinson. Many hoped was seal the deal for Baltimore's championship yes in 1966. After his first month as an American League, there any doubts that Robinson could promote the Orioles to powerhouse status quickly evaporated because he homered in each of his first 3 games and to ignite the Orioles to a 12-1 start. On May 10th at home against the Cleveland Indians team playing way over its head to begin the year, Robinson launched a 450-foot home run, the first ball to completely depart Memorial Stadium off of Louis Tiant. At the end of that day, Robinson was hitting over 400. Robinson's bat injected a strong dose of confidence throughout the Orioles roster, and his clubhouse presence a reported source of tension back in the Cincinnati fit more admirably with a loose team that thrived on practical jokes. One instance of tomfoolery is August nearly cost Robinson's life, forced into a pool by a teammate at a player's party. Robinson barely emerged to the surface with his wild, failing arms above water. The others gradually realized what a single Robinson wasn't able to tell them. He couldn't swim. Catcher Andy Etchebarren dove in, grabbed Robinson out of the water, preventing a headlining tragedy. The pool incident was probably the only challenge the Orioles were met with all summer long, as they maintained a double-digit lead almost to the end. Back on dry land, Robinson was able to complete one of the most dominating performances in American League history. He led the league in the three triple crown categories, batting .316, home runs 49, runs batted in 122. But he also led in runs scored 122, on base percentage 415, on base percentage, slugging percentage 637, second in hits, third in walks and doubles. Bo Powell and Brooks Robinson. Bo Powell hit 287 with 34 home runs, 109 RBIs, and Brooks Robinson hit 269, including 23 home runs and 100 RBIs. Comfortably eased into newfound supporting roles in the lineup. A no-brainer choice for the MVP, Robinson became the first and still only player to win the American League MVP award and National League MVP award, having won in 1961. The defending American League champion Minnesota Twins caught fire at the All-Star break, but it wasn't enough to make up for a sub-500 start that handicapped their chances. The Twins wrapped up the year 9 games back in second place. Thanks for the 16 people tuning in. Thanks for hitting the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. The defending champion, world champions, Los Angeles Dodgers almost began their quest for a repeat performance without the two guys who got them there the year before. That's Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale. Two pitchers, soft pitchers, which each made $80,000 in 1965, were jointly determined to get a raise, a big one for 1966. That wasn't all. In their demands, they broached two of baseball's biggest pre-free agency taboos, asking for a multi-year contract, $400,000 per year per player over 3 years, and using agents to negotiate that contract. Koufax, Drysdale, and his agent Bill Hayes publicly went before the media, warned that if Dodgers owner Walter O'Malley and general manager Buzzy Bavasi didn't give them what they wanted, they would walk away from the game and start acting careers in nearby Hollywood. As negotiations stalled, Koufax and Drysdale reminded the Dodgers that they called on other teams inquiring of their interest. The Dodgers, in turn, reminded the two about the reserve clause and its means. Bill responded saying he had enough legal precedent to successfully challenge the reserve clause. The Dodgers were willing to consider Hayes' threat a bluff, and also aware that the players' union was about to hire a bona fide label star in Marvin Miller. Marvin Miller finished, but not Marvin Miller flinched, but not before they got Koufax and Drysdale to settle on just 1 year for respectively 125,000, 110,000. While Drysdale stumbled through 1966 with the 13-16 mark, Koufax reaffirmed the belief that no matter how much money he earned, it wasn't enough. For the fourth straight year, the Dodgers' softball was simply impeccable. He topped his previous career best with 27 wins and against 9 losses, 1.73 ERA, while striking out 317 batters. Koufax's superhuman achievement masked a tortuous pain arthritis had developed in his pitching arm, and everything under the sun, if not under the table, had been given to Koufax to ease the hurt. Cortisone shots, codeine, budesonide, even a dangerous toxic concoction called hi, hello, Alicia. Cortisone shots, codeine, bosidodin, even the dangerously toxic concoction called Capsilon, made from chili peppers, were all used during the season to keep Koufax as game ready as possible. Koufax's 41st and final start of the regular season last day was the. Yeah, I'm here. Last day was the season's most crucial. It was determined that a Dodgers loss would have opened the door for possibility of a tie-breaking playoff against the San Francisco Giants. Well, how lucky is that the hello, Alicia, possibly of a tie-breaking playoff against the San Francisco Giants, aware of how luckless the whole season history with the Giants have been over the years. The Dodgers took no chances and placed Koufax on the mound with only 2 days rest. No matter he led the Dodgers to a 6-3 win. Find the stream. Excuse me. Aware of how lucky the postseason history with the Giants had been over the years, the Dodgers took no chance and placed Koufax on the mound only 2 days later, 2 days rest. He led the Dodgers to a 6-3 win over Philadelphia in the clinching of Los Angeles' third pennant National League in 4 years. The script for Dodgers was excess had written all over it. Outstanding pitching bailing out an impotent offense once more near the bottom of almost every category. Naturally, beyond Koufax drives down the rest of the starting rotation began to develop with Claude Austin and rookie Don Sutton, who, despite a middling 12-12 mark, still made heads turn with a 2.99 ERA, 209 strikeouts. In the bullpen, closer Phil Regan won 14 to save a league high 21 games, losing just once with a 1.62 ERA. Frank Robinson returns to the plate against National League pitching in grand style when he homered in his first World Series at bat against Don Drysdale, who had given him nothing but fits while playing for the Reds. Red solo shot capped a 3-run outburst in the first inning for the Orioles off Drysdale. Game 1, but the lead was in jeopardy. A few innings later, a Baltimore star, Dave McNally, was getting shakier by the batter after walking the bases loaded in third. McNally was removed for reliever Mo Drabowski, who would be no stooge on the moon. Over the next 6+ innings, Drabowski was shut down. The Dodgers on hit and 2 walks, striking out 11 and 6 in a row at one point, preserve a 5-2 win. Dodgers would score twice in the first three innings of Game 1, but not cross home plate again in the series. Koufax started in Game 2 because he needed the rest after winning the regular season finale, which was victimized by his own team's defense, especially that for the Willie Davis, who endured a horrific 5th inning when he committed 3 errors, crossed up with fellow outfielder Ron Fraley on a routine fly ball by Robinson that fell between them for a triple. Overall, the Dodgers made 6 errors that led to 3 unearned runs and scored no runs of any kind thanks to 20-year-old starter Jim Palmer, who proved his pre-game claim that the Dodgers couldn't hit a high fly ball by tossing a 4-hit 6-0 shutout. Returning to Baltimore, began with comments winning the first 2 games at Los Angeles. The Orioles would only need 2 solo home runs over the next 2 games to complete the series sweep. Game 3, Paul Bear hit a 5th-running home run, while Bucker made it stand up by blinking the Dodgers on 6 hits. A day later, far less erratic McNally returned to the mound, shut the Dodgers down on 4 hits. The difference was Robinson, who solo home run in the 4th helped secure Baltimore's first ever World Series triumph. In a season-long triumph, Frank Robinson, played anything but an old 30, so had Sandy Koufax, but Koufax felt like one. A month after the World Series, the 30-year-old Koufax decided that he couldn't take the agony anymore, admitting he had pitched pain-free only once during the entire 96 season. Koufax told a media-packed room that he was retiring, warned by doctors that his arm risked permanent damage if he continued to pitch. There has been and always will be great debate over whether Sandy Koufax is the greatest pitcher of all time. What is far less debate was whether in a 4-year period, 1963-1966, in which Koufax won 97 games, lost 27, tossed 31 shutouts, struck out 1,228 batters, put together a 1.90 ERA. Anyone else has thrown a magnificent over a similar stretch. Like I said, I'm done with 1966. I'll be back with 1976 Major League Baseball season review. So then, talk to you soon.